Recording. Welcome, everyone. I'm Michelle Wald. I am a physical therapist, and I have been practicing Aston Kinetics for 21 years now. And I have just begun teaching for Aston Kinetics, Aston Postural Assessment. And I have a guest here. One of my co-teachers is Allison Sagewind. She is one of my mentors for so many years, as long as I've been doing this. I've been following in her footsteps, and
And side by side.
and side by side, and all the different ways we learn from each other, right? And
Right.
she is one of the Foundation senior faculty. So we want to talk to her about her experience with this work. And I just want to start off with introducing people to Aston Kinetics. What is this wonderful work that we are doing? And then we'll get into some of the benefits of this upcoming class. So, what is Aston Kinetics? We all have our definition, but
We
I
all
want to
have
know
our
yours.
definitions, but as far as Aston Kinetics is an organization that is a continuing education organization for massage, movement, and medical professionals. So we offer continuing education to people who are already in the field. And it's built upon Judith Aston's discoveries and innovations on the idea that the body is a three-dimensional system with true and natural asymmetries. So it was a question for me once that aha happened, which actually is such a natural aha for us to think about, to figure out how to balance a body that's asymmetrical. It just starts there, really. And I mean, there's classes in body alignment and movement and body work and fitness, but it all starts with this idea about our asymmetrical three-dimensional body that has asymmetry. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real foundational piece that we don't always consider because we spend so much time thinking we need to be perfect or symmetrical or, something that we're not. And it's going to be an instantaneous, uh, miraculous transformation. But we have to consider that we are made up of the parts, and investigating the parts in and to themselves is not always the full picture. I feel like this, especially this assessment class, this beginning class, really introduces the idea that, oh, it's not just about the one thing that we see, it's about how that relates through the body. So, this Aston Postural Assessment 101, it truly is a 101, an introduction to how we can, I say put the body back together or really balance the body, from segment to segment, not just considering like the one main thing we see, like the forward head or forward shoulders. Even even that is sort of the areas aren't fully explored as a whole, right? We see the one part, but what other areas could we be interested in? And how does that relate to what we're doing? How does that guide us? So, what are the things that you feel like this class gives you that may be different than some of the other postural assessment classes?
Well, there is that. Let's start with what we began with, which is about how to look at balancing asymmetries. Most postural classes, you're looking at trying to make everything level instead of how to help the body segments come into relationship with themselves so that you can have better quality of movement, or you can have more equal tone through your body. So it's not about getting to a certain perfection. And it also helps to pull, I don't want to say pull apart. It helps to define different things that you see in the body. So you may have someone walk in, let's say, more of the medical professionals tend to look at body structure, but also there's the SI and Rolfing people who look at structure. But someone comes in and you see them standing there and you see a tilt, but you also see rotations. Oh, and by the way, I see that shift. And this system is so comprehensive, and it allows you to find the focal track, as we might call them tracks. Which track? Is it the rotation that's the focus for today? Or is it the tilts that's focus for today? It gives you the ability to prioritize which track is up, as we would say in our sessions. Yeah.
Right, right. So that gives us a focal point and maybe areas in which we like to investigate further.
Mhm.
I know a lot of classes, jump to almost a diagnosis, and really, as massage therapists, even as physical therapists, we don't really diagnose, but we do give have these constraints upon us, especially in physical therapy, that we work, on the neck, for example. That was my my issue that brought me to this work. That I was searching long and hard for a solution that looked at my whole body, because it was evident to me that it wasn't just about my neck. I had a water
Right.
skiing accident where I kind of flailed through, hit the ground, hit the water like it was ground because it was so hard, and then tumbled through it in every which way. And it was a whole body fascial torsion problem that wasn't simply about my neck. And when I discovered this work, it was profound, a profound change, that someone could look at my whole body pattern and consider the relationship
And see
of
the
the parts.
relationship to the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to, as you get better skilled at this, at being able to see alignment, you can see when someone walks in, you can almost guess where they might have pain or where they might have tension, or where, reasons why they can't seem to tone up an area. So even for those of you who are fitness or movement coaches, it's not just about what we release, but also areas that you need to help tone or create stability. So we look at it from both ways. Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And
And
go ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No.
No, you, no, you.
Thank you. I
Well, it's
think,
just,
anyway, go
uh,
ahead. I
it
lost
gets
for,
so exciting
yeah.
to start to look at the body in this way. And one of the things I hear often when I start talking about this, people go, "Well, of course." But do we actually go through the process of really seeing, oh, this is what's happening as far as tilts through the body, versus, oh, we have a forward head, a tilt, a shift, a rotation, and all of that together? To me, even as a physical therapist trained in that way, is like, it gives us too many directions to try to follow. Whereas if we stick to the track, or stick to one track, we can follow that track and get a concise focus, like you said, in our work for the day, and easily look back and say, oh, that shift changed, or that tilt changed, or even somewhat, or the person feels more at home in their body and more balanced overall.
Right.
So we could verify our session plan, not just, oh, I'm working on this area, but how much, how does that change through the session and between sessions, so that that guides us to actually find the next thing that is of interest, that the client may have of interest, that may be up in their system, and be able to bring them along. And that's the other thing about the communication style. So I'd love to talk to you a little bit about what's different in our communication style in our class, and what we try to train our practitioners to engage our clients with.
Well, I believe it's all about creating curiosity in how we speak to each other and speak to our clients or our students. If you're a movement teacher, you want to engage in the curiosity of their system rather than telling them something about themselves directly, meaning saying something like, I'm curious to see that your left side looks slightly shorter than your right side. I wonder why that is. That in itself just imposes for that person to start thinking, oh, I carry my purse on my right side, which takes my shoulder up. And then you start investigating the stories about how people live, or maybe that their pelvis is to the left and their thorax is to the right. And you say, you just describe it objectively like that. And they may then say, oh, yes, I carry my child on my left side. And that's why that pattern is there. And by invoking these ideas, it gets them interested in how that pattern is. Oh, that makes sense, that if my ribs are going to the right, my pelvis is going to the left, I have a shearing effect happening in my low back. But then the curiosity comes to, which they come to you for more help with. How do I carry my child on my left hip? Because I need to without creating that back pain. So it gets people engaged.
Right.
Speaking that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And it creates a dialogue, like a back and forth, and there's like no judgment. It's just like, oh, it's
Right.
a story about their history. That's a story about their, how they got there, what's influencing them. And we all have our influences, right? Um, like
Yeah. Our biology creates our biography creates our biology. Yeah.
yeah.
How did that shape get there? How did it become this way? And then where are the compromises? And that's really the seeing skills. It comes back to the seeing skills to be able to see where people's compromises are. And some of them are easy to release, and some of them are a little less. They take a little more time, but you have that information right off the bat.
And that starts with this postural assessment, which actually goes through pretty much all the classes. There is a
It
bit
never
of
stops.
this in all the classes, and through the certification, even where it gets more complex. You start to see more complex patterns and how changes can be made in areas that maybe are not related to the area of pain, for
Right,
example.
right. I
For
had a,
my,
go ahead.
that's like for me that way I'll go, then you go.
Yes,
And
no problem.
like my lower legs were so tight, my calves were so tight, it was like pulling me back on my heels, and that was creating a lot of tension in my upper back and neck. And I was so astounded that my first bunch of sessions was really focused on my legs,
Yeah, yeah,
and blending the spine and neck, but it was so interesting to me that that wasn't the focus. Not that it helped that much to just work on my neck. um,
yeah,
so it was fascinating to see how you get that curiosity gets you different places, and you get to work on different things that may be more of a game changer for the process of body work and
I'm sure
movement work.
there's a lot of us that have experienced people coming in and saying, I've had pain in my neck or in my shins or whatever, and people work on it and it gets better for a few days, but it comes back. And so one of the clients that I have that actually became a practitioner, she came in with shin splints, and she had acupuncture and massage therapist and massage. I mean, she had everything done to her shins. So when she came in, I said, maybe it's not your shins. And we worked on her ribs, and after 3 years of severe pain, it reduced 80%. So
Wow.
it's being able to look at where else in the body is there push, pull, shears, rotations, compressions? And again, this system that Judith created simplified how to take a look at a complexity of the body pattern. Yeah, and
Right.
that's
And it gets very quick, right? Like it doesn't have to be like
no.
staring at somebody for an inordinate amount of time. And I think that's where clients feel weird and practitioners feel odd, that they want to just get their hands on people. But if you get uh, timely with the seeing, it really gives you some insight into where to work and what areas may be more controlling, how we say, more controlling of the situation.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
I'd like to invite people who are not used to seeing body alignment to just come and try it out because, you know, as a therapist, I came in the doorway being comfortable with it, but as a teacher, I've been working with people who are movement practitioners, and they don't take a lot of time to watch people stand, but they do watch them in classes. And being able to just quickly pick out something to do a quick cue for one person or an individual cue for another person is such a nice skill to have. And then for massage therapists who aren't used to seeing, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but you could try this out. But I mean, maybe you don't want to go into structural body work. But we'd have to say for Michelle and I, and all of us practitioners that have gone through this, it has saved our bodies for us to understand our own patterns. It is so important to begin to understand your own patterns so that at least you can do your own self-care if you don't want to get into structural body work for your own career. But it's so essential. It's so essential for, I've been doing it for 36 years, going on
Wow.
37 years now. Yes, it started when I was 20. And Michelle, I know that you've been doing it a long time also. And I know that I would not be able to continue this career had I not understood my own pattern. And of course, went further into the Aston training and understanding that you don't have to dig deep to make changes. So that's a whole nother course to talk about.
Right, right. There's so many gifts that we have to offer, but the first, however people come to it, through the body work first or through the assessment first, it's so profound, the things that you learn, not only about yourself but about how the body works and what balances the body. So how to balance the body is, a great sort of intro, like a come from, and simply how to simplify your seeing so that you're not working so hard and you quickly get a sense of the areas that are most up for someone in their session.
Yeah.
And you can compare, we teach you how to notate, we teach you communication skills to evoke that curiosity in your clients and really have a dialogue, that it's not just a top down approach that I'm telling you what's wrong, but you're involved in the process, and that opens up so many things for people just for the rest of their lives, just learning about themselves and what they can influence, how they can even influence what's going on in their body and seek help sooner than later.
Mhm.
So
And
I think this
I
is,
mean,
yeah,
we will be, just last piece, we
yeah,
will be doing some movements, and you'll be introduced to some movements in the Aston paradigm that to help create changes in the class. And those movements you'll learn in other classes, but you'll get a little taste of what it is so that we can see how easily certain areas in your body will change and certain areas that need more repetition for help. But again, that will give you as the participant better understanding about where your structure, how your structure is holding together. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So I think we hit the highlights there. And so if anybody has any questions, please reach out to us. And I'll put the contact in the comment section below. And so we would love to talk to you more about this work. And if you're inspired to take this class, then you'll see the sign up link there too. So coming up, we have Aston Postural Assessment. And this next class, we're teaching together. So I'm excited to do that with you, Allison.
And it is a
And thank
webinar, so you can take it wherever you are, from wherever you are.
That's right. I had someone from like Hong Kong last
Yeah,
time we
someone
taught,
from
all
Thailand.
over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, so fabulous. Technology can be such a gift. So it's a 2 day a webinar class. It is 2 6-hour days. So we will be doing some movement. So it's not just sitting in front of a screen. We have activities and seeing and moving, and we will have lots of lively discussions, I hope, too. Everybody gets to bring their stories and their influences and their experiences to the table. So we hope you join us coming up soon. So thank you, Allison, for
Thank
spending
you,
some time
Michelle.
with me. All
Okay.
right.
All
Have
right.
a great day.
And you too.
Bye.
Bye.